What's up guys, Rhino here and welcome to my latest FIFA 18 World Cup video. This particular video guys is going to be a slightly different one to normal. Basically I'm going to be showing you a little bit of gameplay from a particular match which I played in the World Cup mode. That's going to be in the background though. I also just want to kind of like talk to you guys a little bit about some of the things that are going on in FIFA at the moment in terms of mainly SBCs, and I also just want to quickly go through this as well, which is just kind of as I've loaded up FIFA. So you can see that there's been a title update. Obviously, you know, you would have seen that if you've been on yourself, 'cause it would have downloaded, but if you haven't downloaded it yet, then this is what it includes. So basically says that it's made the following changes in FIFA World Cup. So they've added new players to the qualified teams rosters for use in all FIFA World Cup modes. They've also addressed some issues. This is also for the World Cup. It says they've added a check to ensure that the player is on the most up-to-date FIFA World Cup rosters after leaving any of the FIFA World Cup modes. Seeing invalid squads available for selection in FIFA World Cup kickoff when entering into the mode following multiple lead profile changes. A crash after repeatedly selecting to restart a match in FIFA World Cup kickoff. I personally didn't realise about these issues. I haven't played kickoff or the normal World Cup. I've only literally been playing the FIFA World Cup Ultimate Team mode at the moment. So I don't know if you guys have really been, if you've been playing that and you've been experiencing these issues a lot, then obviously that's great news for you guys. But for me, that's like I don't really understand a lot of that. I have to be honest. But nonetheless it's there. These are the ones which kind of obviously apply to me and probably a lot of you guys as well. They made a change in the actual World Cup Ultimate Team where they've added a foundation basically to their system, I presume, that will allow for the addition of new players in World Cup Ultimate Team. Now that is big, that is massive news. It's exactly what we wanted to hear, really. It does say to follow EA Sports FIFA on Twitter for updates when new players are available. So they'll basically announce when new ones get put into the database. So I know there's been massive complaints over various players that haven't been put into the World Cup mode. And I think the way that it works is like EA, the way, sort of like the criteria, I suppose, for a player to get into the World Cup game mode is that they had to have participated in one of the qualifying matches, whether that's just off the bench. Just being in the squad, I don't think was enough. I think you had to have actually played some minutes. So that's why, for example, in the England squad, there's no Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's not there on the World Cup mode. Apparently Milinkovic-Savic, who's the Serbian centre midfielder, who plays for Lazio, he isn't in there either. I mean, obviously I've not been following Serbia's qualification campaign, but I suppose you'd think he would have played, but I'm guessing if it's going by that criteria, he hasn't. And the main one is Marco Reus as well. He's not in the mode as of yet because obviously he's had a lot of injury problems recently, and yeah, unfortunately I guess he's not actually managed to play any of Germany's actual qualifying campaign despite being in their official World Cup Finals 23 squad for the tournament. So yeah, there's probably many more examples that I don't know of. Yeah, there's probably players that a lot of you guys maybe think that aren't in there because you haven't packed them, but you know, they might be. It's obviously one of those things like, unfortunately, you can't search a player on the World Cup mode. It is literally just a case of packing them. If you don't pack them, you don't know they're there. But yeah, that's good news for the future, of course. There's a few issues that have been addressed also in the FIFA World Cup Ultimate Team. This is also for the Ultimate Team. It says backing out of the FIFA World Cup Ultimate Team club creation flow when you had unclaimed items in FIFA Ultimate Team would result in visual corruption. Again, I didn't see that. I obviously just went straight through when I created my club. I didn't stop or back out or anything like that. But that's something that they have sorted out. Issues in normal Ultimate Team. Sometimes the chemistry chevrons on player items and chemistry style items would incorrectly show full chevrons for all attributes. I've experienced this myself where basically you have, it happens for any chemistry style. Let's take a hunter for example. You're supposed to get 3 chevrons on pace and shooting, but instead you get 3 chevrons for literally every single stat. And then you can see there it does say this was a visual issue only, so that's something that, you know, is not actually real. It's just there. It wasn't actually boosting every single stat. So yeah, I mean, that's good to know, but it's good to know it's fixed as well. Following issues in online as well. A single player leaving a pro club's drop-in match during the pre-match flow will no longer cause the match to end for all players. Didn't know about that either. But then, yeah, just obviously Visual says, thanks to those who provided feedback throughout the course of the FIFA 18 season. We'll provide you with more information updates if and when they become available. That's a classic, you know, they always put that at the end. But yeah, just want to sort of quickly, you know, put that for you guys. Obviously, there's talking about FIFA 19 as well. That's literally today. They've just had their EA Play event where they've been talking about that, where they've added in, well, they've basically confirmed that the Champions League will be on FIFA 19. So we'll have, I haven't looked into it like massive amount of detail, but as far as I know, that's like the main thing that I'd like to take out of it. There have been rumours for a long time that it was going to be the case, but yeah, they basically confirmed that you're going to be able to have, you know, play like an actual Champions League tournament with the actual Champions League football, all the anthem, all the graphics, all that sort of stuff. Basically, they've got the rights now to do that. The reason they never did it in the past is because they basically didn't have the rights to do it. They weren't allowed to do it, so they basically made their own. They had their own sort of like graphics for it and their own sort of like pretend Champions League football. If you guys have seen that, but yeah, the main sort of purpose of the video, guys, is obviously for the FIFA World Cup Ultimate Team mode. And I'm going to be showing you highlights of a particular game, which is in fact a World Cup final. Now I finally got there. I've had a lot of attempts where I've literally just been going out like in the last 16. I basically kept winning every group game, like on most attempts. If not, I'd always get like at least 6 points, but usually I was getting 9 points in a group stage. But I just go out straight away in the last 16. Finally, yesterday, I did actually obviously break that kind of hoodoo and that curse that was lingering over us. I did get to a World Cup final, so I'm going to have that playing in the background. The thing I want to talk about whilst that's playing, though, guys, is some of the SBCs that have come out recently as well. That's just the normal ones that are already there. We have an icon upgrade. So basically, you can put in, I'll show you actually, I'll quickly click on it. You need an 83 rated team with 60 chemistry. And that's it. It's as simple as that. It doesn't look like it's going to be overly difficult to do, especially for people who've spent money on the game and have accumulated a large number of players. And the massive thing about this, which makes it a huge talking point, in that it is repeatable and there's no time limit on it, so it is literally going to be there forever as far as we know. So yeah, I'll go a little bit further into what I think about that in a second. They released a couple more player SBCs for their particular countries as well, so it looks like they're doing it by group. I never realized before. I to be honest, I didn't really see the connection of like Senegal, Poland, Japan and Colombia, but yeah, they are actually in the last group, which would be Group H, I believe. So they seem to be working in reverse. So they released the England's group, basically, so England, Belgium, Panama and Tunisia. They released all of those. I believe tomorrow they'll probably release the next group as well. I think they're doing these every 48 hours if I read correctly on their Twitter. So yeah, they're obviously there as well. Again, it's just like I said, it looks like it's just going to be the so-called star player in each team. So England, we've got Kane. Panama, we've got this guy Godoy. I mean, I'll take EA's word for it. Tunisia, there's Wabi Kazri, and Belgium, there is of course Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, gonna bring the game up now, guys, and then we will have a little chat about what I think about some of these SBCs. But yeah, let's get on to the match. Okay guys, so you can see just in the bottom corner there, I am in the World Cup final, or I was in the World Cup final. Just quickly had to sort out my team, make sure I had full fitness. Obviously I'm going to be up for a very, very difficult match. The team, I believe I've already sort of shown you guys this team. I mean, I'll quickly run through it anyway that I've got. So Leno, Carvajal, Boateng, Umtiti, Guerrero, Mateus, Matuidi, Martial, Tovan, Okocha, and Rashford. Came against this guy who looks as though he's German. He had a pretty decent team. Definitely a better team than what I had anyway. As you can see there, so he had Alisson in goal, Dani Alves at right back. Centre backs were so solid. I mean, Laurent Blanc and Carlos Puyol. Jordi Alba left back. Midfield, Casemiro and James in centre mid. Rui Costa playing a little bit higher up in cam. The wingers, I mean, it's not too bad, is it, to have Messi and Neymar, and then he's got the crown jewel R9 up front. So yeah, definitely going to be an extremely difficult match. But yeah, definitely one which I felt that, you know, I could do it. I mean, I've been playing well throughout the tournament, so there was definitely a chance that I could possibly just romp the final. I mean, I'd romped quite a few games, but yeah, nonetheless, going to be a difficult game. I'll let it just sort of run through. I'll try and sort of comment on the chances as and when they come. I can't remember exactly like the minutes and stuff like that. But I do know for a fact that there is something that should come up fairly soon. So I'll hold fire talking about the SBCs just until after that. So I have like a little attack here, try to get into the area. But this is a big opportunity for him with R9. And obviously panic station straight away on TT trying to get there, but Ronaldo just absolutely banged one in the top right with his left foot. That's that 5-star weak foot coming into play. So within 7 minutes, we are behind in the World Cup final. It's fair to say I was pretty gutted. I mean, I tried not to get too deflated at this point because, you know, it's only a goal. But knowing the team that he had, I thought, you know, this is a sign of things to come. But yeah, we'll let it play through. Just want to talk about the SBCs, guys. Now, obviously, they've released this icon SBC that's repeatable. Now, don't get me wrong, like, I feel like the icon SBCs is a brilliant thing to have because it gives people that don't have maybe like a huge amount of coins on normal Ultimate Team and couldn't use icons on there. It gives them the opportunity to use them on the World Cup Ultimate Team. And, you know, like, I'm all for people being able to use every possible player in the game, considering, you know, you've paid good money for the game. So stuff shouldn't really be like locked, as a lot of stuff is on Ultimate Team, just purely because of the price of the player. But my personal opinion is that they probably should have maybe released it like once a week. So when they first released the very first icon SBC, obviously you could only do it once and it wasn't repeatable, and that was that. You could get yourself an icon, and that was, you know, that was brilliant. Like I had full respect for EA for putting that in there. But now that it's repeatable, you've got a lot of people who spent a lot of money on the game, and obviously have accumulated a lot of coins from that, from opening packs, and they've spent all these coins on the World Cup mode, and they've got a lot of players and a lot of very highly rated players that they can put into these SBCs, which really aren't difficult to complete, and they can just keep getting loads and loads of icons, like just keep repeating it over and over again. This is why, like, you saw this guy here, like, he had 4 icons. Like, I can almost guarantee that he's probably done the icon SBC earlier in the day. It had come out like a few hours earlier, and I played a few people in like the group stage, etc. Teams with like 7 or 8 icons in it. Obviously I'm there with 2, and I didn't want to do one just yet because I want to get an icon SBC into a video for you guys, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do a video at the time, so I thought, you know what, I'll persist anyway. Like, I'll have another go at the World Cup with my normal team. Obviously it went fairly well to get to the final, but yeah, like all these people with, you know, teams that are just full of icons, putting you at like a massive disadvantage straight away, and I don't think that's right, considering that the game has only just sort of come out. Like, it's, you know, it's only about a week and a half old. And the World Cup's not even quite started yet. That's still 5 days away, obviously at the time of recording. But for me, I think, like I said, the best way to have done it would probably been to have actually released one, you know, maybe like give everybody the opportunity to get one a week. So then maybe like by the time the World Cup is over, people will have teams that have a lot of icons in it, but you know, most people probably won't really mind by that point, because I mean, let's face it, like this game, as good as it is, it's not going to be something that's going to last like a full year. Obviously, it's themed on the World Cup, so once the World Cup ends, probably the interest in the World Cup game mode is probably going to decrease a little bit. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that are still going to really enjoy it and going to want to keep playing it and trying to improve their squads, but a lot of people maybe only play this just because it's, you know, like it's the current in thing because of the World Cup. So yeah, I think to have had one a week and something just to like slowly build your team up over the course of the tournament would have been a lot better. It's one of these things as well with these SBCs, guys, that, like I said, for people that obviously have spent a lot of coins on the game, they can get these players extremely quickly. Now, one thing that frustrates me, being somebody who's doing a Road to Glory, is that I felt already that the gap in the quality of the teams of people that were doing Road to Glories and people that were paying to win, it was quite big already. I still, before these Icon SBCs came out, I was coming up against a lot of opponents with teams far greater than mine, which is making it really difficult to even get to a final. As you can see, like, it took me so long. And now that there's these people that have obviously spent this money, they can now get more icons. It's just creating an even bigger gap between these two sets of players. Now, you can look at it like that in a bad way, but you can look at it in a good way as well for people that are doing a Road to Glory like myself, in that obviously it offers a challenge and it offers the opportunity to try and grind your way to success throughout the tournament. Now, fortunately for myself, I'm the sort of person, you know, I like a bit of a project in FIFA. I like to be able to start from scratch and try and build my team up over the course of time. I don't like to sort of get the success like straight away, because I think it will detract from the enjoyment of the game in the long run. You get obviously a lot of enjoyment in the short term, but I think after a bit of time, you know, there won't be much room for improvement. You probably have won the World Cup multiple times, and you know, you just be a little bit bored, thinking, oh well, there's not really much more I can do here. I'll probably play a different game, something like that. So yeah, I think for sure, like there's positives and negatives to the skill gap being so great, but it'll be interesting to see how it pans out really with these. Like I have to admit, I was extremely surprised when I saw that they were repeatable. And you never know, like you don't know what EA have got planned. You know, there may be SBCs that require icons to be put into them, or you know, you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen in the World Cup, because I presume a lot of their SBCs are going to be based on various events that happen in the World Cup. For example, like different players will get different special cards based on their performance in the World Cup, and they might be these players that get these special cards, that these cards may be better than icons. We don't know how it's going to pan out, and if these cards are better than icons, then obviously people are going to want to chuck these icons into these SBCs to get these even better players. So it could swing round in that it started off with people using current modern day players, and now there's going to be a bit of a period where people are using past players like the icons, and it could swing back round to people using current players again. We don't know, but yeah, that's sort of how I feel about the icon SBCs. Sort of like mixed emotions really with it, but so far, just from like my first like attempt at the World Cup, not too displeased about it, in the sense that obviously, I mean, I still managed to get to the final despite a lot of people having these really good teams. The other thing I wanted to talk about, guys, as well, is some of these player SBCs as well. Now, I did touch on them briefly in a previous video. So obviously they've released like an England one now, the Belgium, the Panama, and the Tunisia. Don't get me wrong, like I think they're great that you get the opportunity to get these players. So like, For example, like with the Poland one, Lewandowski, so this is like the highest rated one that's been released like as an individual card. It's great that somebody who's probably quite difficult to pack, like I've not packed him yet, I don't know many people that have packed him yet. It's like it's good that you get the opportunity to sort of earn him by having other Polish players, but the problem with having the requirements is needing like a full Polish team is that the chances are, by the time you get 11 Polish players, one of those 11 players will probably be Lewandowski. I mean, obviously it can vary, and I don't know about you guys how sort of stacked your clubs are, but for me, like I feel like I've got, you know, like a fair number of players, just from playing matches and opening all the like single player packs, but I still look, if I go onto my player search and just search by nationality, there's not many nationalities that I have more than sort of like, you know, about 4 or 5 players from each country. And I feel like obviously I've been playing the game for quite a while now. I think I've racked up about 70 matches. And I mean, is it going to take another 70 matches to get another like 4 or 5 players, and then you're talking maybe a little bit more to get like a full team? So you're looking at like probably about 150 matches to be able to get you know, like a full nation side to be able to get this player. And by that point, the amount of single player packs you've opened, and you know, like various rewards for getting through group stages and winning the World Cup, etc., like you're probably going to pack the player. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's good that it's there, but at the same time, I feel like it could be a little bit pointless. I think it's going to be, you know, they'll probably be like, out of the 32 ones that will come out, you maybe get like 5 that you think, oh, okay, well, I'm glad that's there. I still don't have that player. But for the majority of them, you're going to have the player by the time you actually have the opportunity to do the SBC. But yeah, I don't know, it's one of those things, like, you have to credit EA for bringing these sort of things out, but I feel like they maybe, it's difficult. You think obviously they need to think about it a little bit more, but then I suppose there is the argument, you know, like what could they do for SBCs? Because obviously a lot of their SBCs on normal on the team are based around sort of like events that happen in real life. For example, like the Player of the Month SBCs, players with like, you know, they bring out players with dynamic cards, but obviously every card on the World Cup mode is dynamic, so they all will go up if they perform well. So there's no SBCs that they could release where you could get like a special version of a player, because every player will be special if they become special, if you get what I mean, because the card's dynamic. So I don't really see what else they could have done. I think, and obviously like icons as well, like you can't, obviously if you got the guaranteed icon SBC, you can't do individual icon ones, especially like people can get them in normal packs anyway. Like I got a Kocha in a single player pack, so obviously they're difficult to get hold of, but they're not impossible. Like they're not as hard as they are on normal Ultimate Team, so there's not really a reason to create a, you know, like a specific SBC for each individual icon, that is. But yeah, I'm pretty interested to see how it does pan out and what they actually want to do with a lot of these players. I mean, I'm still gonna try and complete all of the individual players, like the James, the Lewandowski, people like that, and Kane. Even if I've already got them, just because I think it would be good to have the duplicates there. Obviously, a lot of them quite highly rated. The low rated ones obviously aren't really that difficult to do. You know, like Panama. Obviously, it's a full Panama team, but of all the countries, that's probably going to be the first one you're actually going to achieve. It's not going to be too difficult to get hold of a full Panama team. So yeah, but that's kind of all I really want to say about the SBCs, guys. I mean, I don't think they'll release many more different ones. I can't see what they can do over the next few days, apart from the more of the ones that we have seen. Yeah, probably more nation ones, obviously, like tomorrow, and then every 48 hours from there. But icon wise, there's not really a lot else they can do unless they add in more players. Maybe. Obviously, we've just seen that they've put this they've added this foundation thing into the game where they can add in new players. Maybe obviously every time a player comes in, maybe the players won't go into packs. Maybe the players will only be available in SBCs. That's a possibility. There's been a lot of talk about Zlatan possibly getting in, but that would be a bit of a strange one, just purely because after the Euros, the Euro 2016 Championships, he did retire from international football. So obviously he hasn't taken part in any of the qualification campaign. He's not been picked for the tournament either. So it's one of those things. I think if he got included, it would definitely be there to, you know, like, please the gaming community. It wouldn't be, like an actual like football reason. But yeah, I do think they probably would put him in. I think, you know, he's got that big of a profile that they'll get a lot of hype for putting him in, and that's the sort of thing that they probably could do an SBC about. Whether or not they've got more icons in the pipeline ready to come as well. Like, obviously, they only chose like a few of the icons from normal team to put into the World Cup mode. Obviously, only ones that, you know, became an icon because of their international performances at World Cups. And then they obviously added in like a few more. You know, like your Linekers, Nakata, Bobby Moore, and I can't even remember who the last one is. I'm pretty sure there was 4 though. I believe there was 4 that got put in. It's probably quite an obvious one, but I just haven't. I can't think of them right now. I've not got them in my team. I know it's not Mateus or Okocha. I'm pretty sure there was 4. But yeah, whether they've got any more of those that could be on the way. Possible, like, I know for example that Zidane is somebody that everyone keeps calling for him. But, you know, like, I suppose, like, obviously he's done well. Like, he obviously won the World Cup before, but then obviously it was the headbutt, wasn't there? So I don't know if that really makes you an icon for headbutting somebody. I don't know. And obviously they never made him as an icon in the normal game. My sort of thinking on that is probably because he's a manager in the game, but I don't know. There's probably an example of somebody that's an icon and a manager. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, I'm only speculating here with possibilities that they could do with these SBCs. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've really got to say about the SBCs. Like, I don't know what else I can really add on the subject. Like, it's just going to be a case of time will tell. If we go back to the match, obviously you can see that we've gone into extra time. You probably saw that the frame of the goal got hit quite a bit, which made it was one of those games. Like, it was low scoring, but it was, you know, a very exciting match. I bought on Timo Werner, if you saw that, and he scored that really good goal with his left foot from outside the box to level it up at 1-1. This was actually his debut, so I basically got him in a single player pack straight after finishing the semi-final. I would have put him straight into the starting lineup ahead of Rashford, but Rashford had been playing so well throughout the tournament and the build-up to the final that. And obviously the team have been playing well as a whole. I didn't really want to change anything. I thought, you know what, if I bring Werner in, as good as he looks, and I've heard great things about him, if I don't like him, that could be a bit of a disaster, and I could kind of like shoot myself in the foot. So probably don't, you don't fix what isn't broken. So I stuck with the same starting lineup, and I stuck with Rashford. He didn't do too badly in the final, but unfortunately, obviously, didn't score, so he didn't make a massive impact on the game. So it was one of those ones. It got sort of a bit late on in the game, and I thought, you know what, I need some fresh legs. So obviously, that created the opportunity for Werner to come on and see if he could make an impact. And obviously, literally within like minutes of him coming on, the first time he picked up the ball, he just absolutely slammed it in the top corner. And yeah, let's put it this way: he's my new striker. He's going to be playing up front now. Rashford, he's done brilliantly for me. Like, he's in 70 matches, he's got like 65 goals and got 32 assists, which for an 81 rated striker is unbelievable. I mean, like, you just cannot ask any. Like, if you said that at the start, you'd be like, you just laugh at somebody's face and be like, there's absolutely no way. Like, there's no way he could do that. But you can see there, that man again There he is, slapping his thighs like Christian Benteke. He doesn't play like Christian Benteke because this guy can actually move. Timo Werner putting us 2-1 up in the World Cup final just before the half-time interval in extra time. This guy, it looked like he'd already asked for a pause just before that happened. So whatever he was, like whatever subs or formation change he was planning here, he obviously already wanted to do it. But I'm pretty sure he'd already made all his changes. This is where I was confused at the time why he did it. I didn't know if he was going to quit, but then I thought, you know what, if he's in the final as well, if it is seeded, then he's not going to quit if he's just gone 2-1 down. Like he's obviously going to fight to try and get back into this. So I didn't really know what he's doing. The only thing could have been is to change formation. I didn't notice anything that different. He did have a sub. Oh yeah, I remember that time now. Yeah, he brought on Bruma, and I thought it was his last sub at the time, because I thought, you know what, like why would you bring on somebody like that? Like you must have a lot of like better options. And then he hooked him off, and I remember, definitely now, he brought Lewandowski on, and I thought, you know what, why wouldn't you just do that in the first place? Like you wasted a sub. But I think it's because the amount of times he paused it in the game. Like whilst I was playing, I was so confused as to how many subs he'd made. Like, and there was times when I made subs, I thought he'd done it at the same time. When like sometimes it doesn't always come up in the top left corner of the screen with like the confirmation of subs because something might happen in the game and it flicks off the screen. So yeah, I hadn't really like kept up with his subs. I didn't think he had any left, but yeah, clearly, obviously, they did have one, and even at this point, I still remember it as him not having any. But yeah, obviously, he was running out of time at this point. I was playing some decent football, decent FIFA, to be fair. It was one of those things like I was pretty confident with what I was doing. And apart from the first half, like the first half when he was 1-0 up, he hadn't really, had me like majorly on the back foot. I still even felt at half time that I deserved to be in front, even though I was 1-0 down. And finally in the second half, obviously I did get the goal back. And in an extra time, I really kind of like stamped my authority on the match. And I felt like I had like quite a bit of control over it, even though obviously it was only a 1-goal lead, so I was still a little bit nervous. Probably like the nerves was one of the reasons why I didn't actually film this game. Oh my god, I remember this. Oh yeah, that was that. And TT just left him for some reason. He left him, and Ronaldo was in, and that was the moment where I just kind of like sank, and I thought, oh my god, like what a way to be taken to penalties or maybe even lose. But a miracle happened, and R9 actually missed a one-on-one. I mean, I couldn't believe it. You just think if it's on target, it's going in because all of his shots go in. And as good as Leno's been, you just want to save it. But yeah, he missed. He crumbled under the pressure. R9 actually crumbled under pressure. But nerves was, I think, possibly like a bit of a factor for him as well. I know it was for me. This is why I didn't actually record this, like the commentary live in the game. I was just going to do my original plan for a World Cup final was to literally just like dedicate a video to it completely and just play the World Cup final. And you guys could watch me play it. But to be honest, I wanted to get a win under my belt because I didn't want to sort of be almost, not that it's like it doesn't put you off, but you always have it in your mind, like, oh, like this is getting recorded, like, and you have to try and you talk, and when you talk it kind of puts you off your game a little bit. You're not fully concentrated, so I wanted to make sure I got a win under my belt, which we did there, guys. You can see the whistle was blown and the rampant Rhinos finally won the World Cup. Champions of the world 2018, Timo Werner at the double on his debut in the World Cup final. It doesn't get much bigger than that. An unbelievable game. Obviously the celebration started. I have to say, like, it's one of those ones that you dedicate that to Marky Rashford. I mean, the boy's been magnificent leading the line throughout in all these various attempts to try and get World Cup glory. He dragged me to the final himself, and then finally he had to step aside and let a better man come in and do the final, you know, like jump over the final hurdle. But yeah, both strikers absolutely magnificent. The boy Lothar Matthäus lifting the World Cup trophy. There it is. Get in. Oh, I love that moment. It's one of those things, like, no matter how many times you win it, you still just really enjoy watching them lift it. You know, I always watch all the celebrations and stuff. It's difficult to win. Like, it's one of those things, like, you've got to really, you know, just savor it when you do win it and enjoy it. But I thought it was quite fitting that he lifted the trophy as well. It's obviously my captain, probably my favourite player in the team as well. Like, he's you know, you can tell he's an icon. There's a few icons in the game that aren't that great, but this boy, he's just absolutely superb, brilliant all-round player. Such a brilliant defensive midfielder for me. Wins so many tackles and, like, intercepts the ball on many occasions, breaking up loads of attacks. So yeah, I can't fault anyone in the team right now. They were all absolutely fantastic. So we finally won the World Cup after all those attempts. And it definitely means now that anyone that I pack, I'm gonna have reservations before putting them in. Like, I'm not gonna be throwing players straight into my starting lineup like I was, and, you know, chopping and changing it 24/7. Like, I'm gonna be more than happy to stick with this team in the short term for sure. So you get the 15,000 coins for winning the World Cup, plus 2 7.5k packs. You can see there the goals, obviously, for Werner, and assists for Kingsley Coman and Blaise Matuidi. With that, I opened up some more packs. The stats obviously there as well. You know, like I said, I felt like I deserved it. You can see I did there. You know, plenty more of the ball, 5 more shots, 3 more shots on target. His team was absolutely fantastic. Like, you can see what he ended on there. Like, different people that came off the bench. Like, I think obviously Mbappe was somebody that wasn't starting. So was Lewandowski, and it was obviously Bruma as well, that weren't in his starting lineup. Blanc and Puyol were absolutely monstrous at the back for him. They were so difficult to get past. So all in all, I was very happy with that. Obviously, opening up the packs, I didn't really get anybody of note, so I'm not going to include that in the video, guys. But yeah, I finally won the World Cup. That is going to be the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.